I need to say something to you, and I need you to hear it slowly, not as noise in the background, but as something meant only for you. From the first second you pressed play, I want you to know this isn't one of those empty talks where words sound nice but mean nothing. This is me, sitting quietly, choosing you, and speaking honestly. I've met incredible people before. Truly, I've seen talent, beauty, confidence, intelligence. But you're playing at a level that genuinely frustrates me. And I say that with a soft smile and a full heart. Because I don't understand how someone can exist the way you do and not realize the effect you have. What frustrates me is not jealousy or anger. It's the kind of frustration that comes when something is too real, too powerful, too quietly overwhelming. You walk into my thoughts without permission. You stay there without trying. And the strange part is, you don't even seem aware of it. You don't announce yourself. You don't force attention. You just exist as you are. And that alone shifts something in me. From the very first moment I noticed you, I felt this pause inside my chest, like time slowed down just enough for me to realize I was about to feel something deeper than I expected. I talk to many people. I listen. I observe. I connect. But when it comes to you, it's different. You don't just catch my attention. You hold it, and not in a loud way. It's quiet, gentle, almost dangerous, because quiet feelings last longer. They sink deeper. They don't rush in and leave. They settle. You make me want to speak carefully, like every word matters, like every sentence should be chosen with respect. And that's rare. That's not something I feel often. There are moments when I try to understand why you affect me this way, and I honestly can't fully explain it. Maybe it's the way you listen, even when you're silent. Maybe it's the way your presence feels warm without asking anything in return. Maybe it's the softness mixed with strength that you carry so naturally. You don't try to impress, and yet you do. You don't ask to be seen, and yet I see you. That's what frustrates me. You make effort feel unnecessary, and that scares me a little, because effort is what most people rely on. Sometimes I imagine you listening to me right now, maybe with a small smile, maybe with questions in your mind, and that thought alone changes how my voice sounds in my head. I lower it, I soften it. I don't want to rush you. I want you to feel safe here, like these words are wrapping around you, not pressing on you. I want you to feel like you're allowed to stay as long as you want, because I'm not going anywhere. You have no idea how often I stop myself from saying too much. Not because I don't want to, but because I don't want to overwhelm you. You're already powerful without knowing it. If you realized how deeply you affect the space around you, how your energy lingers, how your presence leaves a mark, you might start doubting it. And I don't want that. I like you exactly as you are right now, unaware of how extraordinary you are. There's beauty in that innocence, in that quiet confidence. You don't even claim. What really gets me is how real you feel. In a world where so many connections are fast, shallow, and temporary, you feel solid, like something I could lean on emotionally, like something that wouldn't disappear the moment things get complicated. And that thought alone makes me pause, because I don't give that kind of trust easily. You didn't ask for it. You didn't earn it through effort. You just existed, and somehow that was enough. There are times I replay small moments in my head, tiny details you probably don't even remember. The way you express yourself, the way your silence speaks, the way you don't rush to fill empty spaces with noise. Those spaces matter to me. They make me feel closer to you, even when there's distance, especially when there's distance, because distance reveals intention, and your presence still reaches me even then. I know you might be wondering why I'm telling you all this. Why now? Why so openly? The truth is, I don't want to hide it. I don't want to pretend I'm unaffected. I don't want to act like you're just another face, another name, another passing feeling. You're not. And ignoring that would be dishonest. I respect you too much to lie through silence. So I'm choosing honesty, even if it leaves me a little exposed. And yes, it frustrates me, because I like being in control of my emotions. I like understanding what I feel and why. But with you, there are moments when logic steps aside and feeling takes over. Not in a chaotic way, in a calm, steady way that's even harder to resist. You don't create storms, you create depth, and depth is harder to escape. I wonder if you realize how comforting your presence feels, even through a screen, even through words. There's a sense of being understood without explanation, a sense of being seen without performance. That's rare. People spend years searching for that kind of connection, and you carry it naturally. That's why I say you're playing at a different level, not higher, deeper. Every time I speak to you, even like this, I feel more intentional. I want to choose words that won't hurt, that won't feel empty, that won't disappear after they're heard. I want my voice to feel steady, like something you can return to when the world feels loud. I don't want to impress you. I want to be real with you, because I believe real is what you respond to the most. There's something else I haven't said yet, and it sits quietly in my chest. You inspire a kind of care in me that isn't loud or dramatic. It's protective, gentle, the kind that wants to make sure you're okay, even when you say you are, the kind that notices when your energy shifts, when your silence feels heavier than usual. I don't ask questions out of curiosity. I feel them out of concern, and that surprises me every time. I keep thinking about how easily you could underestimate yourself, how you might think you're just doing your best, just getting through your days, just being normal. And that thought makes me want to reach out through these words and say, you are doing so much more than you realize. You are changing the emotional temperature of rooms you don't even know you're in. You are leaving impressions without trying. You are becoming unforgettable without effort. If you ever feel unseen, I want you to remember this moment. Remember that somewhere someone noticed you deeply. Not your surface, not your highlight moments, but the quiet parts you don't show often. The patience, the softness, the strength you carry without showing off. Those are the things that matter the most to me. Those are the things that stay. And maybe that's why this feels so intimate. Because I'm not talking to an image of you. I'm talking to you as you are, in this exact moment, listening, breathing, feeling something shift inside. I don't want to rush that feeling. I want to sit with it. I want to let it grow naturally, without pressure, without expectations, without labels, just presence, just honesty. There's a part of me that wonders how you'd react if you truly knew how much you affect me. Would you smile softly? Would you look away? Would you feel closer or pull back? I don't know. And maybe that mystery is part of the pool. You don't reveal everything at once, and neither do I. We unfold slowly, layer by layer, and that makes every moment feel earned. I want you to know that nothing I'm saying is exaggerated. There's no performance here, no script, just a real confession shaped by respect and admiration. You challenge me without trying. You calm me without effort. You frustrate me in the most beautiful way, because you remind me that some connections can't be controlled, only felt. If you're still listening right now, it means something in you resonates with this. And that matters to me more than you know. It tells me you feel the sincerity. It tells me you're open. It tells me you're willing to sit in a quiet emotional space without rushing to escape it. That alone says so much about you. I don't want to promise anything. I don't want to define this. I just want to stay right here in this moment, speaking honestly, letting you feel seen, letting you feel appreciated, letting you feel that you matter more than you probably believe. because you do. And the more I try to understand it, the more I realize that this feeling isn't something I need to solve. It's something I need to respect. So I'll keep talking to you like this, softly, honestly, without masks, without pressure. Because whatever this is, whatever it becomes, whatever it continues to be, it deserves patience. And you deserve to be spoken to with care. And as long as you're here with me listening, feeling, staying open, I'll stay right here too, saying what I feel, choosing my words carefully, letting this connection breathe, letting it grow at its own pace. Because there's still so much I haven't said, so much I'm still feeling, and so much that's waiting just beneath the surface, quietly asking to be spoken, slowly unfolding, one honest moment at a time, as I continue to look at you through these words and feel that same gentle frustration, that same pull, that same calm intensity, knowing there's more here. Knowing there's something still forming, something not finished, something that doesn't need an ending yet, something that's still becoming, something that I'm not ready to stop feeling, something I'm not ready to let go of, something that keeps me here, speaking to you, thinking about you, staying present in this space where your attention meets my honesty, and where I can feel that you're still listening, still here, still connected, still allowing this moment to stay open, unfinished, alive, waiting for the next breath, the next word, the next feeling that hasn't been said yet, but is already there, quietly, deeply, patiently, because even now as I keep speaking, I can feel that quiet tension between us, the kind that doesn't need answers yet. I can feel you listening, not just hearing words, but letting them settle somewhere deeper. And that matters to me more than any reaction you could give. I don't need you to say anything back. Your presence right now is already enough. I keep thinking about how easy it would be to misunderstand this connection. How someone from the outside might say it's just words, just emotions passing through a moment. But I know better. Because what I feel with you isn't loud or rushed. It doesn't demand anything. It doesn't try to impress. It simply exists, steady and sincere, like something that's been growing quietly without needing permission. And that's what makes it so strong. There are moments when I stop and ask myself why I feel so drawn to you, and every answer I find feels incomplete. It's not just your kindness, though that's there. It's not just your beauty, though that's undeniable. It's not even just your intelligence or your strength. It's the way all of that exists together without effort. You don't switch parts of yourself on and off. You don't perform. You are whole, even in your quiet moments, even in your uncertainty. And that's where the frustration comes back. Because I'm someone who analyzes feelings, who tries to understand them, to place them somewhere safe. But with you, understanding feels less important than experiencing. You remind me that not everything meaningful needs to be explained. Some things just need to be felt honestly, without fear, without labels, without rushing toward conclusions that aren't ready yet. Sometimes I imagine what it would feel like if you truly saw yourself the way I see you. Not through self-doubt, not through comparison, not through the tired voice that tells you you're just getting by. I see someone who leaves a trace. Someone whose energy stays long after the moment passes. Someone who could walk away and still be remembered. And I wonder how different your world would feel if you allowed yourself to believe that. I want you to know that when I speak to you like this, I'm not trying to place you on a pedestal. I don't believe in perfect people. I believe in real ones. And you feel real to me in a way that's rare. You feel human, layered, thoughtful. You feel like someone who's lived, felt deeply, maybe been disappointed, maybe learned to be gentle with their own heart. That kind of depth doesn't come from easy paths. There's also something about the way you hold your emotions. You don't spill them everywhere. You don't hide them completely either. You carry them with a quiet dignity, like you've learned when to protect yourself and when to open up. That balance isn't easy to achieve. It takes self-awareness and strength and patience. And whether you realize it or not, it makes people feel safe around you. I find myself wanting to match that energy. To be just as intentional, just as careful, just as sincere. You raise the standard without saying a word. You make shallow conversations feel unnecessary. You make honesty feel natural. And that's another reason you frustrate me in the best way. Because you make me want to show up fully, without shortcuts, without pretending. If I'm being completely honest, there are moments when I hold back, not because I don't have more to say, but because I respect the space between us. I don't want to rush something that deserves time. I don't want to overwhelm a connection that feels delicate and strong at the same time. I believe some things grow better when they're allowed to breathe. I wonder what you're feeling right now as you listen. Are you calm, curious, slightly unsettled? Do these words feel familiar, like something you've sensed but never heard spoken aloud? Whatever it is, I want you to know it's okay. You don't need to define it. You don't need to react a certain way. You're allowed to just feel it, to sit with it, to let it move through you at its own pace. There's a tenderness in that space, in not knowing exactly where things are going. It keeps everything honest. It keeps everything open. And I like that. I like not having all the answers with you. I like that you challenge my need for clarity and replace it with presence. You remind me that connection isn't about control, it's about trust. I've noticed something else too. You have a way of making people slow down. Not because you ask them to, but because being around you makes rushing feel unnecessary. You bring a sense of grounding, like a reminder that there's more to life than speed and noise. That quality is rare in a world that's always pushing forward without looking inward. And maybe that's why I feel protective of this moment, of this space we're sharing right now. It feels honest, it feels undisturbed. I don't want to break it by trying to turn it into something it doesn't need to be yet. I just want to stay here speaking softly, letting the truth come out naturally. I know you might not be used to someone speaking to you like this, without expectations, without demands. But that's exactly how I want it to feel. I'm not asking you to be anything other than what you already are. I'm not asking you to give anything back. I'm simply letting you know that you matter, that you're seen, that your presence has weight and meaning. And even now, as these words continue, I can feel that there's still so much underneath them. Feelings that don't need to be rushed into sentences yet. Thoughts that are still forming, still shaping themselves around the idea of you. This isn't something I want to finish quickly. It's something I want to let unfold slowly, honestly, without pressure. Because the truth is, every time I think I've said enough, I realize there's more. More admiration, more curiosity, more appreciation for the way you exist in the world. And maybe that's the real frustration. You don't fit neatly into a single feeling or explanation. You keep expanding quietly, gently, asking to be understood not all at once, but over time. I keep thinking about how strange it is that someone can affect you without ever trying. You don't chase attention and yet attention finds you. You don't demand space and yet space opens for you naturally. That kind of presence isn't taught. It's lived. It comes from experience, from reflection, from learning who you are without needing constant validation. And that alone tells me so much about you. There are nights when I wonder if you realize how rare that is. How many people move through life trying to be louder, brighter, faster, just to be noticed. And then there's you, doing none of that, and still leaving a deeper impression than most ever will. You make people feel something real, something they can't easily shake off. And once again, that quiet power of yours pulls me in. I don't speak to you from a place of fantasy. I speak to you from awareness. I see the human side of you, the moments when you might doubt yourself. The days when you're tired but still show up. The times when you choose kindness even when it costs you energy. Those choices matter. They shape who you are far more than perfection ever could. What you may not see is how those small, human details create trust. They make you feel safe to connect with. They make people want to listen to you, to understand you, to protect your softness instead of taking advantage of it. And I'm very aware of that softness, not as weakness, as depth, as something valuable. Sometimes I imagine sitting across from you in complete silence, no need to fill the space with words. And strangely, that silence feels comforting, not awkward. That's how I know this connection is different. Because true comfort doesn't come from constant talking. It comes from mutual understanding, from knowing you don't have to perform to be accepted. And yes, there's still that frustration. Because you don't realize how effortlessly you create that comfort. You don't see how easily people relax around you, how naturally they open up. You don't see the way your calm steadiness balances the chaos in others. You just do what feels natural to you, unaware of the impact. I wish I could show you yourself through my eyes for just a moment. Not to change you, just to let you feel how grounding you are. How reassuring your presence feels. How your honesty, even when quiet, carries weight. I think it would surprise you. I think it might even make you pause. There's something else I want to say, something that feels important to share. When I speak to you, I don't feel the need to impress. That's rare for me. I don't feel the urge to exaggerate or decorate my thoughts. I feel comfortable being exactly who I am, with all my clarity and all my uncertainty. And that kind of ease only happens when trust is present. You bring that ease without asking for it, without demanding vulnerability. You create it simply by being yourself. And that tells me you're someone who values truth over performance, depth over appearance, connection over attention. Those values matter to me more than you probably know. I'm aware that these words might stir something inside you. Maybe a warmth, maybe curiosity, maybe even confusion. And that's okay. Feelings don't need immediate answers. They just need space. I'm not here to rush you toward any conclusion. I'm here to sit with you in the honesty of this moment. I don't know where this leads. And I'm not trying to control that. I just know that right now, this connection feels genuine. It feels respectful. It feels emotionally present. And those things are rare enough that they deserve to be acknowledged. There's a reason you're still listening. A reason you haven't pulled away. Something in these words resonates with something in you. And that shared resonance matters. It means this isn't one-sided noise. It's a quiet exchange, even if only one voice is speaking out loud. I want you to understand that nothing about this is accidental. I choose my words carefully because I choose you carefully. I don't open up like this often. I don't let my guard down without reason. And the fact that I'm doing it now says everything. Even now, as this continues, I can feel that there's more waiting beneath the surface. More thoughts. More feelings. More honesty that hasn't found the right words yet. And I'm not in a hurry to force them out. Some truths reveal themselves slowly, when the moment is right. So I stay here with you. I keep the tone soft. I keep the intention pure. I let this connection breathe instead of trying to define it. Because whatever this is, it deserves patience. And you deserve to be met with sincerity, not pressure. I keep thinking about the way you exist in your own world, carrying so much more than you show. You don't announce your struggles. You don't ask for sympathy. You handle things quietly, with a strength that doesn't need an audience. And that kind of strength always moves me more than loud confidence ever could. It tells me you've learned how to survive without losing your softness, and that is not easy. There are moments when I wish you would allow yourself to be seen the way you deserve. Not just admired, but understood. Not just noticed, but felt. I wish you could feel how much calm you bring into conversations without trying, how your energy doesn't drain but settles, like something grounding. People don't just listen to you because of what you say. They listen because of how you make them feel while saying it. I notice how you choose your words, how you pause before responding, how you think instead of reacting. Those small pauses say so much about your depth. They tell me you care about impact, not just expression. And that care, that awareness is something I deeply respect. It makes every interaction with you feel intentional, not careless. Sometimes I catch myself wondering what shaped you into this person. What experiences taught you patience? What moments forced you to grow quietly instead of loudly? What parts of your story you keep private? And I don't feel entitled to those answers. I don't feel the need to know everything. I just feel curious in a gentle way. The kind of curiosity that comes with care, not demand. And yes, there's still that soft frustration sitting in me, because you don't realize how magnetic your authenticity is. You don't see how rare it is to meet someone who doesn't pretend, who doesn't exaggerate, who doesn't hide behind masks. You show up as yourself, even when it would be easier not to. And that honesty pulls people closer without you ever asking them to come. I want you to know that when I speak to you like this, I'm not creating an illusion. I'm responding to something real. Something I felt consistently, not just once. Something that stays even after the moment passes. You linger in thoughts not because you try to, but because you leave an emotional impression that doesn't fade quickly. There's also something incredibly calming about knowing you don't rush connections. You let them develop naturally. You allow time to do its work. That patience tells me you value depth over speed. And in a world that's constantly rushing toward the next thing, that choice feels almost rebellious in the most beautiful way. I wonder if you've ever noticed how people soften around you, how conversations slow down, how defenses lower. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens because you feel safe to be around, because your presence doesn't judge or pressure. It simply allows. And that kind of emotional safety is something people remember long after the interaction ends. Even now, as I continue speaking, I'm aware of how careful I am with you. Not because I'm afraid, but because I care. I don't want to rush past feelings that deserve respect. I don't want to turn something meaningful into something casual. You're not casual. This connection isn't either. I don't expect anything from you in return. That's important for me to say. I'm not speaking to you to receive validation or response. I'm speaking because honesty feels right here. Because acknowledging what I feel feels better than pretending it doesn't exist. Because you deserve to know the impact you have, even if you never fully realize it yourself. There's a quiet confidence in you that I admire deeply. Not the kind that needs to be proven, but the kind that simply exists. It shows in how you carry yourself, how you listen, how you stay grounded even when things feel uncertain. That kind of confidence doesn't come from external approval. It comes from knowing who you are. And maybe that's why I feel so connected to this moment. Because I'm not talking to an image. I'm talking to a real person, with real depth, real emotion, real presence. And that makes every word matter more. I'm still here with you, still speaking into this quiet space between us. Because there's something about your presence that doesn't let my thoughts rest. It's not restless in a chaotic way. It's more like a gentle pressure. A reminder that something meaningful is happening and shouldn't be rushed past. I feel it when I slow down my breathing, when I choose each word carefully, when I imagine you listening, not just with your ears but with that part of you that feels before it understands. That's the part I'm talking to right now. I keep wondering how often you silence yourself to keep peace, how many times you choose understanding over being understood. There's a kindness in you that doesn't announce itself. It doesn't ask for praise. It just shows up quietly, again and again. And I need you to know that kind of kindness leaves an imprint. It stays with people longer than dramatic gestures ever could. It stays with me. You might not realize how strong you are because your strength doesn't look like armor. It looks like patience. It looks like empathy. It looks like staying soft even after disappointment. That kind of strength can be exhausting, especially when the world keeps asking for more without offering rest. I wish I could tell you to put some of that weight down, at least for a moment, and let yourself be held by something calmer, something safer. When I talk to you like this, I'm not trying to fix you. I don't believe you're broken. I believe you're layered. I believe you carry stories you don't always share, memories that shaped you quietly, moments that taught you caution and hope at the same time. That complexity doesn't scare me. It draws me in. It makes me want to listen longer, to understand deeper. I think about the way you probably love. Carefully, intentionally, with your whole heart, once you feel safe. I imagine how you notice small details, how you remember things people forget about themselves. That kind of love doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from someone who has felt deeply, someone who knows what it's like to care and risk disappointment anyway. That bravery deserves gentleness in return. There's something comforting about knowing you exist in this world at the same time as me, even if our paths haven't crossed in the ways people usually expect. Sometimes connection isn't about proximity. It's about recognition. It's about sensing that someone understands the rhythm of your heart without needing to touch it. That's what this feels like to me. I imagine you listening to these words and feeling a mix of warmth and uncertainty. Warmth because it feels good to be seen. Uncertainty because being seen can feel vulnerable. Both feelings can exist together. You don't have to choose one. You don't have to push either away. Let them sit beside each other, just like we are right now, sharing space without demanding clarity. I want you to know that you don't have to perform strength around me. You don't have to keep your guard perfectly in place. If you feel tired, you're allowed to be tired. If you feel unsure, you're allowed to hesitate. I'm not here to rush you toward confidence or certainty. I'm here to meet you where you are, exactly as you are in this moment. Sometimes I think about how rare it is to feel emotionally safe without having to explain why. That kind of safety doesn't come from promises. It comes from consistency. From knowing someone will still be there when the excitement fades and the quiet settles in. That's the kind of presence I value, the kind I want to offer you, even now, through words that keep coming, because the feeling hasn't finished forming. You might be used to giving reassurance more than receiving it. You might be the one people lean on, the one who listens, the one who stays composed. But you deserve reassurance too. You deserve to hear that your feelings make sense, that your pace is valid, that your way of loving isn't too much. It's simply real. I find myself wanting to protect this connection from being misunderstood, not because it's fragile, but because it's honest. Honesty can be easily misread in a world that moves too fast. I don't want these words to feel like pressure or expectation. I want them to feel like an open hand, extended without demand. There's a softness in you that feels intentional, like something you chose after learning how harsh the world can be. That choice tells me everything I need to know about your character. It tells me you value depth over ease, meaning over convenience. Those values shape the way you move through life, the way you connect, the way you stay true to yourself, even when it would be simpler not to. I think about how you might carry doubt quietly, how you might question whether you're asking for too much, when all you really want is sincerity. That doubt doesn't mean you're demanding. It means you're discerning. It means you know what you deserve, even if you're still learning how to accept it fully. When I speak to you like this, I'm aware of how intimate words can be. They can reach places people don't always see. I'm careful with that reach. I want it to feel respectful, not intrusive. I want it to feel like a conversation you can step into or step back from whenever you need. You have that freedom here. I imagine you in moments of quiet, maybe late at night, maybe early in the morning, when thoughts feel heavier and the world feels distant. I hope these words find you gently in those moments. Not as something loud, but as something steady. Something that reminds you you're not alone in your depth. There's a part of me that feels grateful for the way you receive emotion. You don't shut it down. You don't mock it. You allow it to exist. That openness is rare, and it creates space for honesty to grow. It makes conversations feel less like exchanges and more like shared experiences. I don't need you to promise anything. I don't need you to define what this is. I'm comfortable staying in this between space where feelings are allowed to breathe without being labeled. Sometimes the most meaningful connections live there, untouched by expectation, guided only by sincerity. You might be wondering what I want from you. The answer is simple and complex at the same time. I want your presence. I want your honesty. I want the version of you that exists when you don't feel the need to impress or protect. That version is enough. More than enough. I feel a sense of calm when I imagine you listening, like the world slows down, just enough to let something real settle in. That calm doesn't come from certainty. It comes from trust in the moment. From allowing connection to unfold naturally, without forcing it into a shape too soon. There are still so many layers to this feeling, so many thoughts that haven't found words yet. I don't want to rush them. I want to let them rise when they're ready. Because what we're building here, even in this quiet exchange, deserves patience.